Welcome to the Flowing Forward podcast, the economics of water in a changing world, a platform dedicated to exploring the pivotal role of water in shaping our global future. Recorded by the Serene Lake in Zurich, this episode delves into the profound significance of water within our ecosystems and its vital role in human development. As we confront the unprecedented challenges wrought by climate change, it is imperative to recognize the urgency of our global water crisis. We are joined by esteemed experts Johan Rockström and Martha Rojas Urrego, who will guide us through the complex interplay between water, biodiversity, and sustainable development.
I really hope that we will be able to bring that across in the Commission, that water is what I call the bloodstream of the whole Earth system, keeping the planet stable, but it's also the fundamental core of human development.
Water is a very scarce resource, and
yes.
I think that people
and it's a finite resource.
It's less than 1% of the existing water in the planet is usable fresh water.
Yeah.
And we're using it beyond the capacity for it to regenerate. So I think that what the Commission is doing is fundamental because we need to take action, because we need water for everything in our lives.
Together, we will explore the pivotal work of the Global Commission on the economics of water, emphasizing the need for collective action to ensure a stable and thriving future for all on Earth. Stay with us as we embark on this crucial conversation about water conservation and ecosystem preservation. And now, let's dive into the discussion.
Well, I think that it's really important to stress that the relationship between nature and water, or biodiversity and water, is fundamental. And biodiversity needs water, but water needs biodiversity. We cannot have a sustainable water availability if we don't conserve and restore the key ecosystems that ensure that this exist. But Johan, I know that you have been working on another dimension of this relationship, which is very important. And it's how this relates with the hydrological, especially the atmospheric cycle.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you raise this, because we now have the global hydrological scientific evidence to support your conclusion that biodiversity is in itself a prerequisite to have safe water to deal with the water crisis. And we show that the big forest systems on planet Earth across all, both temperate zone and tropical zone, are up to 50% of rainfall in tropical areas are generated from thriving, healthy, biodiverse forests through green water flows, evapotranspiration, which then flows as atmospheric rivers, downwind. So not only is our ecosystems fundamental to secure freshwater supply, they're actually showing that ecosystems don't care about national borders. So what happens is that a neighboring country can have a healthy ecosystem providing downwind neighbors with your rainfall provision. So the water crisis, just as you say, cannot be solved in isolation. You have to preserve the ecosystems to be able to have any chance of securing the rainfall.
This is really a very interesting perspective, because this adds to the fact that biodiversity and ecosystems contribute also to what you call the blue water. Because we know that that ecosystems are the source of water, that ecosystems also regulate the flows of water. They act like sponges, and that it's critical to avoid floods and droughts, but also they purify water.
Yeah.
So the relationship is so strong that what we are seeing in the work of the Commission is that the conservation and restoration of these ecosystems is going to be critical if we want to meet, the needs in terms of water availability. And perhaps one aspect that I think is really important is that there is a diversity of ecosystems that are critical. And of course, in the atmospheric cycle, there are some ecosystems, especially forests, that are very valuable. There are other types of ecosystems which are specific to water, they are related to water, called wetlands, which are essential in the kind of functions that I described before. And they are the most endangered today.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it is really critical that we conserve and restore these ecosystems for the water agenda.
What the Global Commission on Economics of Water, what we're trying to do is really to bring forward not only the economics of water, but the new economics on water. That on the green water side, which is fundamental for all carbon sequestration, which is a prerequisite for the climate crisis, all the fresh water behind food security, so therefore about the Sustainable Development Goals of alleviating hunger and poverty. There you have to have stable ecosystems to be able to have any chance of securing rainfall and soil moisture. But as you say, on the blue water side, it's equally fundamental to regulate the fluxes of water through all the watersheds we have. And I would even like to raise it to an even higher level, because we have so much evidence today that climate change, melting glaciers, changing forests, having such large impacts on ecosystems is also changing the blue water flows. So it's not only that we humans drain wetlands and dry out the systems that then lose this sponge capacity. Climate change in itself is also causing more drying and faster melting of ice, which in itself threatens the stability of these runoff flows that we so much depend on. And so this is what worries me more than anything, really, that we are kind of pushing the whole hydrological cycle out of balance when we in our society so fundamentally depend on stable cycling of blue and green water for ecosystem functions, but also for social and economic development. So that's what I hope that we in the Commission can come up with economic thinking, not necessarily pricing, but economic valuation to guide policy to avoid unmanageable outcomes, basically.
And in all this, I think that it's important to remember that water is a very scarce resource. And I think that people
and it's a finite resource.
It's less than 1% of the existing water in the planet is usable fresh water.
Yeah.
And we're using it beyond the capacity for it to regenerate. So I think that what the Commission is doing is fundamental, because we need to take action, because we need water for everything in our lives.
Much of the development work, or if not most of the development work, is completely water blind.
Yep.
We're not recognizing the fact that for a dignified, healthy, prosperous life with fundamental justice, you need to have, something like 1,000 to 1,200 cubic meters of fresh water per person per year, just for food, health, all your domestic needs, but also for a modern life. Everything consumes fresh water, and fresh water is so fundamentally important. And just look out here, it's not only the production of factors, it's also the beauty in life as well. So it's something that I really hope that we will be able to bring that across in the Commission, that water is what I call the bloodstream of the whole Earth system, keeping the planet stable, but it's also the fundamental core of human development.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Flowing Forward podcast as we navigated the economics of water with our esteemed guests. We invite you to stay engaged with our podcast for more expert discussions and inspiring stories of collaboration. Together, we must drive meaningful change and secure a sustainable future for water resources worldwide. Until our next episode, let us steadfastly flow forward toward a transformative global impact.